Hey you, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor. Today I want to answer the question, what is copywriting exactly? It's a term that you're probably somewhat familiar with if you're watching this video, but it's something that has kind of changed and transformed over time. Sometimes people get the image of the Mad Men days when they think of marketing and they think of copywriting. And while, yes, that is absolutely true, copywriting in its truest form is direct response, meaning it is writing that is getting somebody to act now, and therefore it is most often associated with sales. It still is living and breathing and reflection of the times, and therefore has transformed over the years. So let's dig into exactly what I'm talking about here. So first things first, copywriting is persuasive writing. It is writing designed to get somebody to act. And as I said before, usually that is to get them to make a purchase. But today, that can also include things like getting them to subscribe to an email list, getting them to donate, getting them to take any sort of action, pick up the phone, book that consultation, whatever it is that you might want them to do. So what separates copywriting from other forms of writing is the persuasive techniques. And there are a wide range of persuasive techniques that a copywriter can employ to make their writing more effective, ultimately getting them to take that action. So that is really the difference between copywriting and purely writing that is based to be informative. I sometimes joke that we all have innate copywriters inside us because from the time we were little, we knew which parent to ask for what things to be more likely to get a yes. Or we were pretty good at gauging like maybe their mood or a good time to kind of ask what we wanted to ask them for to get that yes. So truly, copywriting is employing different forms of persuasive techniques, knowledge about the person you're speaking to, empathy, and ultimately getting them to take that action you want them to take. Now, if this sounds a little manipulative to you, for sure, I totally understand because it somewhat is. You are trying to influence someone's behavior. But here's the thing I want to talk to you about. First, you have total say in who it is you write for and in how you use these really effective persuasive tools. So you get an opportunity to decide, is this the kind of brand or business that I would like to represent? And that is one of the reasons I love being a freelance copywriter. Because if you had the cure for cancer, for example, you would still need effective copy to sell this cure. You would have to explain to them how it's used. You would also have to alleviate any fears or concerns they might have because people aren't going to just up and believe you. You're going to have to paint that picture and really build your case to get them to see that you have an incredibly valuable product that is going to tremendously save their life if they were sick, for example. So keeping in mind that as a copywriter, you get to choose how you deploy your arsenal of tools. And that is one of the reasons that I think copywriting is such an incredible skill, especially in today's age where we really want to work and know our brands and have them believe in our ethics. So with that in mind, there are generally a few things that help a copywriter be effective. And one of those things is niche or industry knowledge. Because when you are familiar with the person you are actually speaking to, and that can be done either from your own personal experience, but usually from research and surveys and asking questions and being curious. When you become familiar with a particular niche or an industry, you usually become more effective at writing copy because you need to be speaking directly to one person to explain why your product or service is something that they should take action on now. Another thing that is important to remember, that for it to be direct response copy, meaning it's something that is going to cause them to take action right now, which is copywriting in its truest form, then there needs to be some sort of urgency and scarcity to get them to actually take that action. You are super familiar with these things. It could be a limited quantity, limited sets, limited signups. It could be a time frame that a sale is going on. It could be many, many things. But ultimately, if you give them forever to make their decision, it's unlikely that they're going to act now. Sometimes urgency and scarcity comes from really painting that picture of whatever it is the problem that your product or service solves and making it seem and feel like they shouldn't wait. There's no reason to wait. So this is a really just like big picture view of copywriting. As you learn copywriting, you're going to dig into the nitty-gritty to learn actual persuasive techniques. And there are so many. And this is the fun thing about copywriting. Once you are familiar with copywriting, you will start to notice it everywhere. That is one of my favorite things that my students say to me when they start my course, is they are immediately, their minds are blown at how copywriting is literally everywhere. So where do you see copywriting? Websites, product descriptions, blogs, social media posts, Instagram, Facebook ads, Google ads, videos, YouTube videos, email sequences, opt-ins, those free things that you kind of put your email in so you can get it in exchange. Maybe it's an ebook. White papers, which are often presented and not even called white papers, but they can seem very informative and more unbiased than a lot of other copy. And then, of course, you've got traditional ads, which can be printed, billboards, online, on your TV. I mean, literally everywhere. When your eyes are open to how copywriting is absolutely everywhere, you can't unsee it. Like, I see copywriting techniques in political speeches now. You cannot unsee how those people who need to persuade people to come to their side employ the same techniques that copywriters do. Sometimes I even joke when people ask me, like, what does a copywriter write? I sometimes just say, everything on the internet besides the news, that is what copywriters write, because it truly is that vast. And that is why copywriting is extremely in demand, and it's not going anywhere. As long as there are businesses, there is a need for copywriters. So why would people hire copywriters? Well, first things first, learning copy and practicing this skill is a lifetime process. And so there are people who are busy running their own business. They don't have time to also learn the skill of copywriting. And they understand the importance of hiring a professional. And sometimes they don't even understand the importance of hiring a professional. But because it is such a powerful skill that produces results, you can often show a potential client or show a client why copywriting is so important to their business and making it run more effectively. Sometimes people hire copywriters because, quite frankly, writing is time consuming. And so they don't have the time to do it well or even do it themselves. Sometimes people ask me, how do I reach out to a business that kind of looks like it's got its shit together online? Well, you know what? You actually don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Sometimes I've reached out to those people and they've said things like, oh, it's such good timing, my writer just left, or I've been actually writing these myself, or maybe my sister's been writing these themselves, and so now I'm really happy to have somebody who is actually devoted and professional to writing the copy for my business. Bigger companies often have in-house copywriters or marketing teams. And some big companies or even mid-sized companies hire marketing agencies. But the thing is a copywriter is such an important part of the marketing process that oftentimes those people will contract out freelance copywriters. That's happened to me a ton, especially the more niche your knowledge is. So because I've become somewhat known for writing about gut health, I have had companies that even though they have in-house marketing teams, they still use me as their copywriter because they know that I have the absolute best knowledge in this very niche subject. And usually their in-house copywriter can be a little bit more of a generalist. So that's another reason that I am so adamant that you pick a niche. And you don't have to know exactly what you want to write about right now in that much of like a narrowed down focus, but the more you give yourself focus, the more you become an expert in your industry, and the more you are able to serve your clients, have more effective copy, and charge well for your services. And finally, some people simply hate writing. I know, it's weird, because if you're here, you're probably not one of those people, but you might understand it if maybe you don't like math. I kind of like math too, so I don't really get it, but it is so true. Again, writing takes time, it is energy, expensive, and therefore people are always going to be looking to outsource it. So if you have interest in becoming a freelance copywriter, I want to invite you to stick around, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will see that I have tons of videos on how to make this a lucrative and sustainable freelance business for you. I have led thousands of people through this process. We're talking thousands. And it is something that brings me so much joy because there's nothing I love more than hearing people quit their jobs, earn significant money as a side hustle, or especially being able to have the freedom to work from home and stay with their family or have babies. Maybe you're growing your family. Copywriting is a lucrative skill that is accessible to so many people because we generally have an innate understanding of language, communication, persuasion, and it really is something that can be played into your passions, meaning things that you are super fired up about and you want the world to know more about. So it makes it also a really meaningful career on top of it being extremely lucrative. So I hope this helps. If it did, please hit thumbs up. That is how I know that this is a video that's super helpful for you. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. Are you considering being a copywriter? What is, maybe preventing you from taking that next right step? Because again, it's also an amazing business because you can build it as a side hustle on the side and kind of grow it in your free time.